212, 7 miles northwest, low fuel, heavy weather.
Army 212 radar contact, turn right, heading 150.
With a fog-bound helicopter hanging on your every word. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, only that you're good.
Slowly.
Roger.
Overlanding threshold.
Be all that you can be.
Thanks for your help.
Roger.
You can do it in the Army.
There's strong, and then there's Army strong. It is not just the strength to obey, but the strength to command. Not just strength in numbers, the strength of brothers. Not just the strength to lift, the strength to raise.
I enlisted in March of 1974 on a delayed entry program. I actually went into active service in September of '74. My boyfriend and I broke up. I was not doing well in school. Because I have two younger sisters, I figured my parents could use the money that they were using to send me to school, and I was floundering. I did not do well my last 2 semesters. And I was still not ready to go out, get a job, support myself, and the Army seemed like kind of an intermediate step. They would send me places and they would feed me and clothe me, and yet I'd be working.
I grew up in a small town of Esco, Minnesota. I actually signed my papers before I graduated high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in terms of education at that time, and I came from a family that wouldn't have been able to provide me any assistance in going to college, and I also really wanted to get out of that small town. So I thought the Army was a great opportunity to do those things.
I turned 18 after I graduated, and I don't know, it just sounded like, I'm out of here. I'm out of Podunk, Okanagan. I better watch what I say. I just wanted to get out and do something different. And the military was kind of a ticket.
I graduated on the 11th day of June, and I signed up on the 26th of June. My sister told me a lot of stuff, what people thought. They didn't think it was a good choice, because they thought that women were one or two things. They were either lesbian or they were whores. That was what it was. And so I had to be one or the other, and everybody wanted to know which one I was.
This obviously won't do. And neither will this. You're in the women's army, not the men, and should always strive to look feminine.
We had makeup classes, which were interesting. They wanted to make sure we knew how to wear makeup with our uniforms. They were still torn between treating us as ladies and treating us as soldiers. They didn't quite know how to do it.
I had no idea that there would only be maybe 20 women on base when I got there. The women were living on, I think, on the 2nd floor of one building. And as soon as you walked in the door, you were greeted by a metal cage.
There was this gate. It looked like a mini jail cell that you walked to the door and you stood there and you talked to the CQ to get in. And so, I mean, it was kind of like if somebody came to visit you, they had these bars. It looked like a cell, I mean, kind of when you walked in there.
That didn't last long, that cage. All of the women on base in the one barracks on the one floor. So that kind of tells you how many women were on base. So none of the other buildings had women in it. And then suddenly we got notified that we were going to be moving out and we're going to go to our particular company. So all of the women were on the 3rd floor, no cages of any kind. But then it got to the point where there were men and women living on the same floor. So the women's bathroom was still on the 3rd floor. Men were living on the 3rd floor, but they'd have to go downstairs to the 2nd floor to use the bathroom. So that changed over, you know, it wasn't a long period of time for these changes to happen.
We were kind of the token women even before that term came, but I was like the first woman in that platoon. And avionics and sheet metal and rotor blades, so all of the platoons that had to do with aviation in the hangar, each platoon, there was about one woman in each one. There wasn't much to do, and most of the guys I remember, in fact I found old pictures from that time, they'd be sitting around reading comic books and all this. Well, I go out in the hangar and watch the engine department change an engine in a helicopter, or the rotor blades or something. Well, I remember I always got in trouble because I wasn't right in the shop, but there wasn't anything to do. And so they made me, because you know women are good with manuals, they made me in charge of all the technical manuals. Because you know women are good at that kind of stuff, is what they told me. They didn't have a typewriter, otherwise they would have probably made me typing things up.
I was assigned to the WAC battery, but I was in a male unit. I can't remember which one I was in at Fort Sill. But some guy in that unit went AWOL. So they had a strike, and they put it on me. And I got, you know, a lot of comments about it. There were a lot of negative comments.
The rank says sergeant. It does not have gender. And so I was expecting the system to take care of me. And they didn't.
I know these women today. They don't realize it. But the women who made that change happen, who worked through that change, they made a road for these women today. I think the women of our time, maybe we didn't benefit so much from it because we were making it happen.